guys, welcome back to Symbolic Logic Part 23. We are taking reference of Symbolic Logic 5th edition, which was written by Irving M. Covey from the University of Hawaii. So, in the previous session, we have seen about problems using rules of inference and we have studied about some rules of replacement. So far, to prove the validity of an argument, we made a toolbox, the toolbox consists of rules of inference and rules of replacement. So by using this toolbox, we are going to solve the problem, which is easy than solving it through a truth table or using specific forms. So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna use these toolbox which has rules of replacement as well as rules of inference, and we're gonna prove them that the given argument is valid. So let's get into the problem. So we have construct a formal proof of validity for each of the following arguments, in each case using the suggested notation. So this is how they will ask questions. They want to prove us the validity of the argument given. So the in the problem one, the argument which we have is either the manager didn't notice the change or else he approves of it. He noticed it all right, so he must approve of it. So this is the argument we got. What we gonna do with this question is they given in a statement form. So we're gonna separate this statement and we'll be assigning the variables to it. And using the variables, we will be constructing a argument. Using the statement, we will be constructing a premises and an argument. Let's see how to do it. So either the manager didn't notice the change. The manager didn't notice the change. Okay. Let's keep it as a variable as n. And the next sentence what we have is he approves of it. So let's keep the another variable a. And the next sentence what we have is he noticed it all right. So in the first sentence what it is notice, the manager noticed, we gave n. So we will be giving the third sentence also n. So the fourth sentence is approve of it. So the approve comes. So it will be we will be assigning a again to it. So if you notice, the first sentence is a negative statement. The manager didn't notice the change. So we will be adding negation to the variable. Whereas the third sentence, he noticed it all right, is a positive statement. So we will be not adding the negation to it. Only to the negative statements we will be adding negation, which proves its opposite. Okay, so you have understand. So we have four sentence or statements. Two statement is about noticing. The two statement is about approving. So the first statement and the third statement belongs to n and negation n category, whereas the third and fifth category belongs to the A. He approves of it. So we have obtained the variables. Now, while using these variables, we will be constructing the argument. So in the same form as the argument. So the sentence we have either the manager didn't notice the change. So we will be giving negation n. Or is there. So or means what we have disjunction. So disjunction else he approves of it. So approves came. So A we will be assigning A. So this is the first premise. So the first statement we completed. Now the second statement what we have is he noticed it all right. So notice n. So the second premise is n. So the conclusion, the third premise, the third statement. So he must approve of it is A. In bracket, they are even gave the variables which we will be using. Only we will be using two variables. One is n and one is A. For negative, we will be using negation before the variables. So we have formed the argument negation n, disjunction A, and the second premise is n and conclusion is A. So This part is completed. The first thing, if this is a question, the first thing what we're gonna do is they have already given it. We need to read the statement, and we will be breaking it into sentence. Each sentence, each premise. They have already given them variables n and a. Using this variable, we're gonna form a argument. So you should read thoroughly, and you need to form this argument correctly so that you can prove the validity of this obtained argument. So how we gonna prove is the conclusion we need to prove. So in the founded argument, we're gonna prove the A. So how we are gonna prove this? For that only we have a toolbox which has the rules of inference and rules of replacement. So let's see how we're gonna do this. So we need to prove A using this argument, right? So the first premise, negation n disjunction A. So we will be applying double negation rule in it. What is the double negation rule? If you see that, I have pasted it. P by conditional, negation, negation, P. So we will be applying it to N. So what we got? Negation, negation, N. Yeah, so applying the double negation rule in N. That is second premise. We will be taking the first premise as it is negation N, disjunction A, and the second premise N. So what we are going to using applying the double negation in the second premise, we are getting negation negation N. So the using the first and second premise, applying disjunctive syllogism through to it, what we will be having? Negation n distinction a and negation n. After applying disjunctive syllogism, you will get a. That's why proved. Question is equal to answer. So this argument is a valid argument. No need to rush through it. You can go through the content slowly and you can practice it again and again. When you watch it for the first time, you will not understand, but repeatedly watching it and solving it, you will be understanding it as easily, and revision is the best part of it. So that's why proved we are proved. So I have already said these valid arguments we can be solving in two ways. One is using truth table way, which we do it like this. You have already seen how to valid an argument, how to prove the validity of an valid argument using truth table. The second method which we are seeing is proving using the replacement and inference rules. These both methods will be using to prove the validity of an given argument. So this truth table is really time consuming and complex. So we switched over to this toolbox, using this toolbox of rules of replacement and inference. So you can do it also using truth table. If you have time, you can go through it. So the second problem what we have is, if the litmus paper turns red, then the solution is acid. Hence, if the litmus paper turns red, either the solution is acid or something is wrong somewhere. So they have provided the variables R, A, W. We have three variables in it. Let's break the statement into sentence and give variables, assign variables to the state sentences, and we will be forming a argument. If the litmus paper turns red, you give a value R to it, then the solution is acid. Let's keep the value A for acid to it. Hence, the litmus paper turns red. Again, again the first sentence is repeated. So we will be giving R. Then the solution is acid. Either the solution is acid. So we will be giving A. Again the A. So if the litmus paper turns red means you will be assigning R value. If there is a statement like then the solution is acid, we will be assigning A value. And the last sentence, something is somewhere wrong. So you will be applying wrong for W in it. So we have assigned the variables for each type of sentence. So we will be forming an argument. The first statement is if the litmus paper turns red, then the solution is acid. So, what we can see here is they are using if then. If the litmus paper turns red, then the solution is acid. So, litmus paper turns red is R, and then the solution is acid is an implication. So, A. R implication A. So, the second premise hence is coming. So we will be considering it as conclusion. So hence, if the litmus paper turns red, R, then the solution is acid. Implication A, or we will be using disjunction. Something is somewhere wrong. Disjunction W. So what we're gonna prove? We're gonna prove the conclusion. How we gonna prove the conclusion? Using the first two premises, we'll be proving the conclusion. So how we will do that? We need to prove R implication whole A disjunction W. So we will be having the first premise, and we will be applying material implication through it. And we got negation or disjunction A. So we will be adding addition rule. So we will be adding disjunction W also. So apply association law in it. You will get the fourth line. And applying material implication law in it, you will get the exact conclusion which you are looking for. This is pretty much easy when you understand it. So moving on to the third problem. If the laws are good and the enforcement is strict, then crime will diminish. If strict enforcement of laws will make crime diminish, then our problem is a practical one. The laws are good, therefore, our problem is a practical one. So, we have four variables here. Let's separate it. Let's separate it as the connectives. If, the, and, there, then, again, if, then, therefore. Let's separate it. So we have four types of sentence here. One is laws are good, their enforcement is strict, crime will diminish. Our problem is a practical one. So let's assign GSGP to the subjective respective sentences. So we got G conjunction yes. So what is G? Laws are good. So if you see the first statement, laws, if the laws are good and the enforcement is strict and is coming. So we are using dot. Enforcement is strict, you are using yes variable. G dot yes, then the crime will diminish. If we are using if then, so implication crime will diminish, so D we are using. Like that we are forming a premise. So if you take the next statement, which will be the next premise, yes, implication D, whole implication P is the second premise. And then the therefore our problem is a practical one. Sorry, I left the third premise. So third premise is G. Therefore, laws are good. There is a line like that, no? After the practical one. So we are taking the third premise as G, and therefore means it is a conclusion one. Therefore, our problem is a practical one. It is a P. So therefore P. So we need to prove the P to prove the validity of this argument. So how are we gonna do that? The same way. So we have first, second, third premise and one conclusion. So we'll be using expectation laws, hypothetical syllogism, and modus ponens. Using these three laws from the toolbox, we will be proving that P. Answer is P. We will be proving the P. So the given argument is a valid argument. So if you want to explain me more, so G conjunction yes, implication D. We are applying exportation law, which makes it as G implication yes, implication D. So after applying the exportation law, we are applying hypothetical syllogism, which gives the first premise we are taking and applying the second premise. The first premise what we got is G implication, S implication, D we have got from exportation law. So, by adding the first premise and second premise and applying hypothetical syllogism, we will be getting G implication P. So, we got G implication P in the second step. So, in the third step, what will happen is modus ponens. So, G implication P, the premise which we got from the first and second, and adding it to the third premise G and applying modus ponens, we will be getting P. So, that's why it's proved. So if you see the next problem, okay, we don't have an statements or anything here. They have already given a argument with variables. So we'll be using constructive dilemma. And these four rules, see, one, two, three, four. And applying this, so there are three premises and one conclusion, which is Q. So we need to prove Q, right? So what they are doing is the first premise. We are taking both the first and second premise. M implication N, conjunction O implication P, and negation N, disjunction negation P. Applying applying this DD. DD is the short form of the rule. You can check it in the table which I provided last time. And applying DD rule, we will be getting negation M, conjunction O. And applying fourth rule in it, De Morgan's, I think D mean stand for De Morgan's. Applying De Morgan's, we will be getting negation M, O, implication Q. And again, applying constructive dilemma and all other the four rules which I wrote in blue color, you will be getting Q from third and fifth step easily using modus ponens. So the fifth problem looks pretty easy, right? So we have two premises and one conclusion. G implication, negation H implication I is the first premise, and negation G conjunction H as second premise. Therefore, I disjunction negation H. So we are applying material implication law to the first premise. So we got the fourth step. We will be applying again this material implication to the third one. Third one again we'll be getting, and we'll be using De Morgan's law in fourth step, and double negation law in fifth step, and distinctive dilemma in sixth plus second step. So that the eighth step we will be having addition rule in seventh step. By to the I we will be adding disjunction negation H using addition rule, which proves the conclusion. The same thing goes for the sixth problem. If I read, I get good marks. If I do not read, I enjoy myself. Therefore, either I could get good grades or I enjoy myself. You having R, G, A, three variables. So you can highlight the connectives if therefore or, and there are three types of statements. I rate is we have having R variable, and good grades having G variable, enjoy myself we are having E variable, and we are constructing a good argument, and we will be applying the rules which we have learned so far, and we will be solving the proving the conclusion in the question, and the conclusion which we got is true. Therefore this the argument which we have formed and provided is a valid argument. So that's all. These are the problems they will be asking, which you will be proving using the toolbox rather than truth table. So in the next session, we will be studying about the invalid arguments. So we have studied about the valid arguments, how to validate the valid arguments. So how we will be validating the invalid arguments, we will be studying in the upcoming sessions.